The options market can be a confusing place. Sorting through the daily avalanche of data, alerts, updates, articles, and analysis to find the most important information is an overwhelming prospect. But now you have help. Welcome to the Options News Rundown, the only program that breaks through the noise to bring you the most important news and information from the world of options. Every day, we bring you the top 5 option stories curated by the options experts at theoptionsinsider.com, the premier source for options information. The Options News Rundown is brought to you by LevelTradingField.com, the online communication, research, and quantitative platform with the largest collection of financial tools for traders, including the innovative Bitcoin Market Predictor. The Bitcoin Market Predictor is a simple prediction game where 10 people place bets on the future price of Bitcoin, and the top 3 most accurate predictions wins. Sign up at LevelTradingField.com with promo code INSIDER. The Options News Rundown is also brought to you by Market Taker Mentoring, the leader in options trading education. Get trader education, daily trade ideas, and more with a free 1-week trial of Market Taker Mentoring's Live Advantage Group coaching class by visiting markettaker.com/insider. And now it's time to break through the noise. It's time for your Options News Rundown.
Good morning. Today is Monday, February 5th, 2018. This is your Options News Rundown. I'm Dan Passarelli. Our first story today is from investing.com, and it's the top 5 things to know in the market on Monday. The first thing to know is global bond yields continue higher. The U.S. 10-year bond hits 2.88%. Global bond yields continued this year's rally as expectations of higher inflation and talk of central bank policy tightening boosted borrowing costs. The U.S. 10-year note rose to an intraday high of 2.883%, a level not seen since January 2014. It was last at 2.856%, up 0.4 basis points, or roughly 0.2%. The second thing to note today is world stocks extend the biggest sell-off in 2 years. The worst sell-off in world stocks in over 2 years deepened as expectations of rising inflation and a sudden climb in government bond yields spooked investors. Asian equities were covered in a sea of red, with Japan's Nikkei tumbling 2.5% in its biggest daily drop in 15 months. Benchmarks in Australia, South Korea, and Taiwan all suffered declines of over 1%. Ooh. In Europe, the continent's bourses suffered a sharp sell-off at the open as weakness seen in markets overseas weighed on sentiment. Third thing to know is the dollar pauses after the jobs report gives it a boost. The U.S. dollar paused against a basket of currencies after rallying at the end of last week on upbeat U.S. jobs data, which showed wages last month recorded their largest annual gain in more than 8.5 years. Fourth thing to know today is Bitcoin prices sank below 8,000. Bitcoin prices were on the back foot, sinking to the lowest levels since November as a sell-off sparked by fears over tightening regulation of cryptocurrencies deepened. Bitcoin was last down around 13% at 79.61 on the Bitfinex exchange. It fell to as low as 7,751 at one point, the weakest level since November 19th. And the fifth thing to know is oil slumps as U.S. output keeps rising. U.S. prices started the week in negative territory as traders weighed on a steady increase in U.S. output against OPEC's ongoing efforts to drain the market of excess supplies. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures shed 37 cents or 0.6% to $65.08 per barrel, while Brent futures dipped 50 cents or 0.7% to $68.08 a barrel. Our second story today is from CNBC.com. Watch for another selling wave in the stock market as investors are forced out of their low volatility bets. This is the market dip you wanted, or said you wanted. as the market kept levitating without letting up for months, or thought you wanted, before the reality of a 4% one-week tumble reminded us how unnerving a sudden break in stock prices looks and feels in the moment. But this is how a pullback feels. The sudden urgency of sellers pressuring the indexes through levels that were taken with ease on the way up. And whenever a market does turn south after months of effortless upside, you can count on there being handy, worrisome headlines and market indicators nearby to get the blame. Rising bond yields, wage inflation unleashed, weak Apple iPhone demand, a possible constitutional crisis. You thought maybe a dip traveled a gentle slope, stocks trickling lower just a bit each day, all the while whispering, "Don't worry, everything's going to be fine." Maybe, sadly not. So now what? Well, this article goes on and explains what, and if you want to read it, you know what to do. Surf on over to theoptionsinsider.com. Our next story of the day is a MarketWatch.com story. European stocks wallow in a sea of red as global sell-off picks up steam. European stocks traded sharply lower Monday, tracking a global sell-off in equities that picked up speed on Friday after a better-than-expected U.S. jobs report stoked fears about rising inflation and higher interest rates. The Stoxx Europe 600 index lost 1.3%, or 383.2 points, setting it on track for its lowest close since November 15th, according to FactSet data. Germany's DAX index dropped 0.8% to 12,687.15, while France's CAC 40 index fell 1% to 5,309.49. The UK's FTSE 100 index gave up 1.3% to 7,350.08. What's driving the markets? Stocks globally have generally been falling recently, but losses picked up speed on Friday afternoon after the closely watched U.S. jobs report showed salaries rose faster than expected in January. That wage growth, at the fastest pace in more than 8 years, was seen as an indicator of rising inflation, fueling fears the Federal Reserve may raise interest rates faster than anticipated. That speculation boosted bond yields, which in turn weighed on equities. Higher returns on debt securities typically make stocks and other assets perceived as risky less attractive to investors. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the news you can use for today, Monday, February 5th, 2018, your Options News Rundown. I'm Dan Passarelli. Trade smart. Have a nice week. Stay safe.
The Options News Rundown is brought to you by LevelTradingField.com, the online communication, research, and quantitative platform with the largest collection of financial tools for traders, including the innovative Bitcoin Market Predictor. The Bitcoin Market Predictor is a simple prediction game where 10 people place bets on the future price of Bitcoin, and the top 3 most accurate predictions wins. Sign up at LevelTradingField.com with promo code INSIDER. The Options News Rundown is also brought to you by Market Taker Mentoring, the leader in options trading education. Get trader education, daily trade ideas, and more with a free 1-week trial of Market Taker Mentoring's Live Advantage Group coaching class by visiting markettaker.com/insider.